Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode of Guild Wars 2. Today we're going to take a little detour from our journey to 80 with the Rivenet character, and we're going to focus in on another level 80 that I created, and that would be my Norn Necromancer. This is him right here, level 80. I'm currently in Frostcore Sound waiting for the event to begin. So here we go. Let's take a review of the Necromancer. And let me tell you what we're going to be doing with the series as far as the professions are concerned. So the Revenant class was a new class, and for that I started out a whole new video series so that way we can show the journey to 80 for any players that haven't seen the play before. But what I really wanted to do was I wanted to do a review of the various classes and how they work in the game. Namely, I want to show the skills that they have, that possess, the different weapons, things, and get a little bit more focus on different types of builds you can do with the character in order to make them effective play, but at the same time, as I said, fun play. So we want to stick to kind of, I'm not focused on min-maxing characters, what characters doing highest DPS, what characters are changing out as much damage as possible, churning out as much damage as possible. That's not the focus of this. I'm not even focused on what character classes are best for raids, what character class is best for dungeons, what character class is best for World of the World or PvP. What I'm looking at is what the fuck about this game is going to make me sit down and have fun playing it day in and day out. And so the Necromancer, in my opinion, is one of the most underlooked classes because it's not going to do obviously the damage that a warrior is going to do. It probably isn't going to have the DPS damage that, you know, a warrior might do or some of the other classes. But I really like the Necromancer character, especially with the new Reaper specialization, because it adds a lot to the game to me in terms of fun. So let's take a look at my build and what I've done so far. So taking a look at the build, what we have here underneath my current build is what I'm just kind of looking at as like a Reaper Minion, or I don't know what the fuck to call him. I guess it's a Reaper Minion Master or some shit of the sort. So what I did was I chose the Specializations, Blood Magic, and I chose Death Magic to start off the build. At level 20, basically early on in the game, in order to get through, I chose Blood Magic because I thought that was going to give me the most survivability, because it was basically allowing me to leech a lot of health and life from things. So like if you notice the first ability here, Mark of Blood, which is a mark, inscribe a mark that bleeds foes when they trigger it and grants regeneration to allies. So this really worked out in that regard. It leaves a mark of blood, then you get to do the mark of evasion, which means I leave a mark of blood when I dodge. The next ability on here was the lesser signet of vampirism. You mark a foe, allied players will siphon life from that enemy. That's really cool, especially if you're playing in party with characters. If you're not playing in party with characters, you still have other abilities here. Well of Blood and Quickening Thirst increases movement speed while wielding a dagger. Now that's going to change up the weapons that you play with and how they play. I'm going to give you a quick note of advice here. That the dual daggers in both hands, definitely viable, definitely worth it build. I really liked it. I played as that for a little while, and then I switched over when me and my wife kept playing together with her Elementalist, or she had a Ranger, I think it was, and I just attached Lesser Signet of Vampirism. Next up on the tree right here is what we have is Vampiric. I siphon health whenever you hit a foe. Minions siphon health and transfer to you. This is great life drain. This is a great life steal. I feel like I'm a fucking vampire just stealing health from everybody and doing damage to them, and it really works for survivability. Are you going to be a tank? No, you're not going to be a goddamn tank, but you are going to be able to steal health and increase your survivability. Next up is Vampiric Essence. You and your nearby allies siphon health with attacks. So if you have people in a party with you, again, they are now benefiting from, you know, you're almost in essence becoming a healer because of these two abilities here, which is really cool. If not, you can choose one of the other two abilities, but to be perfectly honest, you're going to want that Vampiric Essence. Next up is Last Rites. As long as you are not down, allies near you do not bleed out. If they are down, gain healing power based on your current health. Really neat ability, really nifty. Basically, your friends go down, you're still good to go. Next up, we have Transfusion. Shroud skills. Your fourth Shroud skill heals and partially revives nearby allies. It's very conditional, and you know, you can choose what you want. The other abilities here, not necessarily, you know, any better or any worse. That was just the one I chose to go with, basically for play with between me and my wife. Next up, we went here with Death Magic. Death Magic, Armored Shroud. Gain toughness while in Shroud. Then we went here, Flesh of the Master. Now this was another reason why I went with the minions as part of my skills, is because for each minion that you have on the field, you gain toughness for that minion. I'm going to show you these minions in a minute, and I'm going to show you why you gain so many skills. Next up we have here is Soul Comprehension. Your passive life force generation from nearby death is increased. You're just constantly gaining health from things dying. Next up, Necromancer Corruption. Minions deal more damage and take conditions from you. Whenever a minion attacks, they transfer conditions. Look, I'm not going to get any conditions put on me with this build. Basically, the minions are going to do all the work for me and keep me clean. There are some other good ones in this tree right here. Like, for instance, Deadly Shrink. Gain power based on your toughness. Power gains doubles while in Shroud. But that's up to you whether you go with those or not. I particularly like the minions being able to steal conditions from me. Kind of make sure I'm not kind of bleeding out or anything like this. Beyond the Veil. Whenever you leave Shroud, you and your minions gain protection. Okay, so next up, this is a must right here. We have Death Nova. Minions explode in a cloud of poison when they die. The effect also triggers when you are down. Now here goes the big caveat to that. When you kill an enemy, you summon a Jagged Horror minion to fight by your side. So that's an extra minion that you're getting there with this build. And then we have the Reaper Specialization. Now if you're not going to use the Great Sword, you could probably get out of the way of the Reaper Specialization and using the Reaper Shroud. Although to me, this is one of the main pieces that allowed me to have so much fun with this build, especially by in comparison to the Revenant build. And when you see my review for the Revenant, you'll kind of understand, and as I talk about this, you will. So I haven't completed out this whole 250 tier tree of the Reaper Specialization, but we'll get there. And I will look more in depth at that. For now, let's take a look at some of these skills. So we have our first Fiend, which is a healing ally. It's a summon. We get to summon a Blood Fiend. When we kill him, we can sacrifice him in order so that we can gain health. So it's a constant insta heal, but he's also running around healing me anyways. Next up, we got these two Bone Minions. You see 1 and 2 down, and the second one in front of me. And basically, we can also sacrifice them, and they explode and they do they do damage in a radius, so they can affect about 5 targets. Next up, we have summon a Bone Fiend, and when you can sacrifice that Bone Fiend in order to immobilize a target. Then we have a Shadow Fiend. You can have your Shadow Fiend blind foes if you want to. They'll teleport to a location of your choosing, and they'll blind foes over there. Your last elite skill underneath the minions would be summon a Flesh Golem. Your Flesh Golem has the ability to sacrifice himself, charge foes, and he reduces stability and knock them down for you. Launch all enemies in the path. I think it's like a total of 5 enemies or something like that. Or it might just be all of them. But as you can see, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 minions that's out on the field here. And as I said, as I kill enemies, I will gain a Jagged Horror. So offhand, what I decided to use was, when I first started playing the Necromancer build, I really wasn't keen on using a staff, because I didn't quite understand necessarily what I was doing with the build. But then as I started building towards the Minion Master, or however you look at towards the minions, and I started going down the specialization tree, I started understanding more about what it is that I was doing. So the first ability up here that I have is called Necrotic Grasp. Necrotic Grasp is basically exactly what it says. It's going to reach out and it's going to deal damage. And it's a way for me to paint my target, and I'm gaining health as I do this. The second, third, fourth, and fifth abilities are all marks. The second ability being Mark of Blood. I inscribe a mark and it bleeds foes when they trigger it, and it grants regeneration to allies. So it's really good. And if you notice, that also targets my enemies so that way I go. Your third ability is a chill effect, and I'll show you why this is going to be important as you're building towards your Reaper Specialization. It's also really good for... I don't want to chop right now. So like for instance, here he is over there. I can cast my chilling effect, and then I can cast my Mark of Blood on that target, and I get those benefits going. So he's starting to bleed out, giving health back over to my allies, to me, and so forth. So it's pretty good. And if you notice on my screen, I've got 1, 2 Jagged Horrors sitting there on a screen. See that? 1 and 2. My toughness is increasing as that going. Now pay attention to the health bar on those jagged horrors. You can see they're continually decreasing. As they decrease all the way down, what you'll notice is that they are going to leave poisonous clouds. When those poisonous, I want to focus on this one right here. You'll see as he gets health all the way down, he's going to pretty much sacrifice himself and leave a pool of poison. Now, depending on the size of the crowd, you can use that to your benefit, because that jagged horror spawns and you can have stacks upon stacks upon stacks of poison generated on a target. You know, it's jagged horror over here as well. He's going to probably do the same. So now we've got our fourth ability. It's going to inscribe a mark that transfers conditions from yourself to foes when they trigger it. So if your minions aren't doing the job, then you can feel free to do that. Now I don't have any conditions to show you me being transferred over here to him, but that is essentially what it does. And then my fifth ability right here, inscribe a mark that causes fear when foes trigger it. So the thing I like about this ability is that my third ability is a slowdown effect. For all intents and purposes, that's what it is. It's a slowdown effect. I'm stopping them so that way I can get set up and so forth. So I cast it, I cast 2, then I cast 4 to go. He's still moving towards me, so I'm going to cast 5 to cause him fear, get the fuck away from me, keeps him away from me. So that's pretty much what I figured the rotation is for the character. I cast 3 on a target, I cast 2, I cast 4, I cast 5, and then I start casting 1 in order to keep the rotation going, and I'm paying attention to the cooldown effects in order to see where I'm going to keep going in after that. If you know what I'm talking about with rotational skills, if you've played like Final Fantasy or plenty of MMOs, you know, characters tend to have a rotational skill for them, a rotation for your skills, so that way you're most effectively putting out damage and creating combos and so forth. So next up that we have is the Reaper Specializations use of great swords. Now the staff allows you to have great range mobility. The great sword, however, is different. Your first ability is going to have 3 different strikes. Your dark strike, binding twilight, and then your chilling sight. Basically, you're going to cleave foes on the first strike, and cleave foes on the second strike, and your third strike is a chilling effect. So let's take a look at that real quick. First strike, second strike, and then the third strike is a chilling effect. Now, typically, we're in a level 80 area right now. You will notice that by the time you get your third strike off, especially in some of the lower lying areas, 60 to 70 I think at most, is that you'll never get that third strike off, because if you're playing with minions, they will typically wreck the shit out of whatever you're killing, and they'll have them done before you do it. As I said, you can see that it is a slow swinging strike. Your second ability is Grave Digger. You perform a huge swing that deals heavy damage, recharges faster if it hits a downed or low health enemy. So you kind of want that to go fast. So I'm going to show you what that is. This is not the cycle rotation I would use. Now to me that just looks fucking amazing when you do it. I love the spin. It's a difference. It kind of gets a little airborne there, and it kind of feels Reaper-esque to me. That's my opinion. So third strike here is called the Death Spiral. You conjure a trail of dark energy on your blade and rend the armor of foes in front of you. So let's take a look at that. So boom, there you go, 1 strike. There goes my third strike, and then he's low on health, and I'm gonna go ahead and attack him so that way I can get that second ability to reach in really quickly. So we're kind of getting into the rotation here, if you kind of see it, right? The next abilities that we have are called Nightfall. This is our 4th tier ability. Call down a growling column of shadows that damages and conditions foes for every pulse. So let's take a look at that ability. Give me something to fucking attack. Give me something to attack. So here we go. So let's take a look at this. This looks really freaking cool. So there you go with that ability. Boom. Hit him, and look at that. He's already down on health. You're almost not getting off it. Now, of course, he's not a tough enemy. This ability is one that I really like. It reminds me of Scorpion from Mortal Kombat, and I love doing it. It's Grasping Darkness. Conjures claws of darkness from the shadows to pull enemies towards you. Gain life force for each struck foe. So this is almost like when you set this up, you kind of want a path build towards this. So for instance, I've got this Dolyak and the goat sitting over here. Now the odds are that I'm not going to really reach this. I barely reached the goat in there, but I did reach him. So now, what is my suggested cycle rotation here? With these, you have a lot of different things that you can do. If you want to gap close, is what I like to use Grasping Darkness for, as a gap closer. So I'm not trying to necessarily get every single enemy. I'm just using it as a gap closer. I'm pulling enemies towards me, so therefore it's a gap closer. When you're pulling enemies towards you, or pulling or closing distance in any way between you and enemies, those are typically, to me in MMOs, gap closers. If you don't have a gap closer skill, then you're probably playing at range. But if you're melee, well, you can see that poison just triggered from that horror that I had there. It died. Then you want a gap closer, especially if you are a melee character, which is basically what you are doing with the Reaper build when you choose the Greatsword Specialization. Next up, I'm gonna kind of have to run through this probably quickly to show you the skills, but we're gonna take a look at the Reaper Shroud, and the ability looks amazing, and you have the ability to go in and out of Reaper Shroud as you see fit. So the first Reaper Shroud ability here is level 1, and it's pretty much just swings. Life Rend is what we're doing here. That is your skill. So I want to make sure and you can see what's basically happening. All these enemies are coming to me, basically because I'm freaking I'm getting off my Jagged Horrors, and they're just leaving trails in the wake of killing things. You can see the Jagged Horrors have spawned, and that's pretty much what's happening there. Now your Reaper does build back up quickly, so you can see right here that the first skill, Life Slash, I'm basically still in health from foes. My second slash is a Death Scythe charge, and this is allowing me, again, you know, I'm a melee character, so I'm very concerned with gap closing. That's closing the distance on the enemies that you have in the wake of your area. So that is your gap closer for the Reaper build. Now let's take a look at the third ability, which is nothing more than to gain your armor. It's preparing you to get into combat. That's what I'm doing. I'm gaining life from my first ability. I'm using the second ability in order to gap close, and then, I'm using the second ability in order to gap close, and my third ability is basically to pump me up on armor. So typically when you do this, you're going to want to try to go in there with the armor prepared in the first place, attack, and keep moving that way. The next ability is going to be, let's see if I can trigger this bastard off quick enough. The next ability is going to be your fourth ability, which is Soul Spiral. It's an AoE attack, pretty much melee AoE attack. It's there. Basically, when I think of it more as this conditional thing. If I don't have multiple enemies, I tend to not really use that, and I'll probably go with something else. But oh no, what the fuck? Did I really just trigger this fucker? Yes, I did. I triggered the freaking Dolyak, and I triggered the Veteran Trio. So let's switch. No, you know what? No, yeah, I'm gonna switch over. Let's fuck a veteran up. Veterans are not particularly hard. I just wasn't really trying to use the trigger. So these are a couple of your builds, and as you can see, I'm not losing any health because my minions are taking care of them. They're not dying, so I'm perfectly happy with all that's going on. Let's go back into Reaper mode, and then we have our Executioner Scythe. It delivers a heavy blow to a target, so I don't have a target. Shit. Give me a target. Somebody give me a fucking target. Give me a target. Give me a target. Target. Gap close to this one. There we go. And then heavy attack. That's pretty much what you're looking for from the Reaper Shroud for that ability. So, and as you can see on my screen, it really does look kind of fucking awesome when you're using the abilities for the Reaper class. I like them. I know it's probably not going to be for everybody, but me, I like the Reaper class. The minions make the class really viable as far as survivability goes, and in that response, I really do dig it. It looks cool, and as you can tell, it kind of looks a little bit like the Revenant's build, the Revenant's Shroud. But I genuinely like that. I genuinely like the ability. So what we have here is, that's the Reaper on a whole as I am playing it right now. So along with that, along with the Reaper build, you don't have to go Axe, you don't have to go Greatsword. That's just the way I'm enjoying having fun of playing a character, because it gives me a ranged option that I really do like, and it gives me a a melee option. So you do have the ability to wield the axe in your main hand. The axe has really cool attacks on it as well, and they're all pretty much life stealing as well. The daggers definitely life stealing, siphoning health from your foes with almost every single attack, and you're pretty much getting a lot out of it. You can use daggers in your main hand and your offhand. You can use scepters as well. You can use the focus and the war horn, though I did not necessarily like the scepter and the war horn, but they're there. So overall, to be perfectly honest with you, I have a number of characters at this point. I've got a Reaper that's at level 80, I've got a Revenant that's at level 80, I got a Thief that's at level 80, and I've got a Guardian at level 80. And to be perfectly honest with you, I think this is one of the most overlooked classes in terms of just pure having fun. When I play a game such as Guild Wars 2, I take on the title and I say it's an MMO RPG. That means a massive multi-online role-playing game. I think a lot of people miss out on that respect, and they lose out on sight of the role-playing of the game and the fun that is going to enable you by just having fun playing with the class. Not to mention, the Reaper is probably going to be one of the most effective classes at getting through any of the PvE content solo. To be perfectly honest with you, I haven't had to run through with my wife. I've been running through a lot of different areas, just running solo. So it's entirely up to you how you approach the game. We're over here inside the core of Jormag, and shit, I hit that again, but I'm not too worried about it. My minions are gonna take care of me. I'm inside the core of I'm inside, Frostgorge Sound here, and I'm taking care of basically waiting for the battle against Jormag to go. And as you can, I'm not gonna have you guys sit here through this whole video of battle participation with these guys, because that could get this could turn into quite the video. But the survivability, it is heavy with the class. It is definitely one of the more fun classes to play, in my opinion. There's quite a bit going on with the class that I really do enjoy. Great effect for the class. I don't think that this is going to be one of those classes where a person gets bored with what's going on screen. As you can see, I'm sitting in the field here amongst a bunch of veterans and champions, and I'm surviving. It's me and my minions doing damage, doing wreck face, and I'm using a staff. So it's entirely up to you how you approach the game and what you do. Do I need to do this? I'm pretty sure somebody else could come and help me at this now. And I'm kiting enemies, and if you notice, minions haven't gone anywhere. Jagged Horrors are being spawned. I'm not having too much difficulty now. Am I missing out on the freaking play for the Jormag? Probably, but I'm trying to show you guys. Most people would have typically left the area, and I'm fighting these schnauzers right here by myself. So we're gonna end the video here as I rush into battle over here with Jormag and see what we're gonna freaking be facing over here. Well, I've already actually faced Jormag. I just wanted to do it before the reset occurred. So keep this in mind for the game when you guys are playing Necromancer build, especially if you're a person that generally likes the sprite effects that occur on screen. Really highly, it is a really good build. It is a lot of fun. There's so much going on screen that makes the game so much more enticing, in my opinion. I would highly suggest going with the build and seeing what it is that you like about it, especially if you're going PvE for first time builds and so forth. None of the skills are particularly hard to manage and maintain and understand. Now, one of the drawbacks I would say of the build, and I'm not sure if this is just Norn or Necromancer in general, but the build, the Necromancer's movement through space is really slow. Very slow. Movement speed, it is slow, trust me. So it's not going to be something that you're necessarily going to have fun moving around the world with, especially if you've done a thief build or a warrior build or something like that. Now there are signets and stuff like that that you can equip in order to speed up the movement of your Necromancer. But that, again, that's up to you what you choose to do. How did I pick up the fucking... I'm not sure why I picked that up. Well, there you guys go. There you guys have it. That is my review of the Necromancer build. And as we get along more into the game, I will start trying to play with various specializations, skill sets, and builds to see, you know, not necessarily what's most effective, but what's a lot of fun to play. What are some variants on the class that you can look forward to playing in order to have the most fun while you're playing Guild Wars 2? That's all that matters to me in the end. I don't give a damn about min-maxing. That I can care two shits less about it. What I'm really concerned about is how can I have as much fun with the game, and right now I'm having tons of fun playing as the Necromancer build. Way more fun than I think I had playing as my Revenant class, which is a little sad, but I'll get into explain that when I do my review of the Revenant build. Well guys, I hope you guys are enjoying the videos. Remember, it takes 5 seconds to like, thumbs up, comment. If you want to see some other builds, you're interested in anything else going on with the Necromancer profession, please leave a message, let me know what you would like to see. I'm having a shit ton of fun, and I'm gonna go ahead and finish killing Jormag and get back to this game, and I hope you guys have a great night, and remember, as always, have fun. Until next time, guys.
Better than moving.